Are you ready to hire your first employee? Or perhaps you are a business owner looking to pay yourself. In this video, we tackle the basics so you know what payroll is all about. What is payroll? At its most basic, payroll has 4 components. Number 1, paying your workers. Whether you've got full-time, part-time, on-call, salaried, or other type of employees, they generally will want to get paid. But there is more to the calculation than you might think. Stay tuned. Number 2, calculating withholding taxes. Payroll withholding taxes are made up of EI or employment insurance, CPP or Canada Pension Plan contributions, and income tax components. Number 3, making payroll remittances to the CRA. The payroll withholding taxes you've just calculated need to be reported and paid to the CRA, often on a monthly basis. Making these payments is called a payroll remittance. And number 4, preparing and submitting a T4 summary report. At the end of the year, your payroll is all wrapped up into a final statement that is sent to the CRA. This is known as a T4 Statement of Remuneration Paid. Many Canadians are familiar with T4s because they've likely received one as an employee. Now, things get rather complicated from here. How do payroll calculations work? Did you know that the payroll withholding tax calculations will impact how much you pay your employee? This is because EI and CPP have both an employer and an employee portion, while income tax component is paid exclusively by your employee. Now, how does all of this get accomplished? Many of these tax components are withheld from your employee's paycheck. This reduces the amount that you pay them. Let's walk through a scenario. George needs to pay his employee $100 for time worked. Using a payroll calculator, George has determined that he must also remit $10 of CPP contributions. $5 his employee must contribute, and $5 he will contribute. George will pay his employee $95. This is the $100 George owes his employee less the $5 his employee owes in CPP. George will then send $10 to the CRA for his payroll remittances. This is made up of the $5 in CPP George withheld from his employee's paycheck and the additional $5 that George contributes. As you can see, payroll can get complicated rather quickly. Now, if you are wondering, yes, payroll withholding taxes are mandatory for employers who have employees. Now, how do these calculations work? Well, the amount of taxes you need to calculate isn't a standard percentage, but it changes based on many factors, such as how much your employee earns, their age, and the tax credits that they may be eligible for. Now, how do you get these details from your employee? Well, you ask them to complete a TD1 personal tax credit form on their first day of work. This form is a mandatory part of preparing payroll and is available on the CRA website. I put a link to this form along with a few other getting started tips in our payroll handouts available on our website. Payroll calculation options. To calculate your payroll accurately and with significantly less math, you'll want to use some type of payroll program. The CRA provides a payroll calculator, which I walk through in another video. Other options include professional bookkeeping software or using a third-party payroll service provider. The CRA payroll calculator is the least expensive option because it's free, but is really only a great option if you have 1 or 2 employees. It does involve a bit more math, but it helps you get the job done without too much fuss. Using a bookkeeping software program is also a good option if you are interested in learning about the capabilities and limitations of your software program. I've had many clients assume their bookkeeping program has made the payments on their behalf to the CRA. This has left them with significant payroll penalties when their assumptions turned out to be wrong. Before relying on your bookkeeping program, make sure you've taken the time to learn about your software. Now, my favorite option is to use a payroll service provider. A payroll service provider is the best option for those who don't want to learn about their payroll obligations or who want a more hands-off approach to their payroll. Using a payroll service provider will often automate much of the process, like making remittance payments on your behalf and the T4 calculations at the end of the year. Because of these automations, I personally use a payroll service provider. Okay, that is all I have for today. I hope this video has helped you understand a bit more about payroll. I will see you in another video. Bye for now.